All right, the outrage. Are we done with it yet, guys? TexAgs Rewind. Look, I'm disappointed. You are too. People are angry. A lot on the show. People were, what's the word I want to use here? Nick, help me with a word. Not the word that I want to use. Help me with a word to describe what a lot of the people's tone was today.
Somber.
And upset.
Empty.
Mad.
Yeah.
Comment below how you felt Saturday, how you felt Monday, and how you're going to feel on Saturday when they beat Miami. You see the fake smile? I hope they do. I hope they figure out the offense. And that's what we're going to find out from Jimbo later on the show. Obi broke down his thoughts from that App State game. He had some good ones there. Tom Hart of the SEC Network. We tried not to talk too much A&M. Get me caught up because I didn't watch anything. I'm telling you guys, when I got home, it was no television, right? Off. Hello, kids. How are you? Good, Dad. Happy birthday. No. Let's just eat and go to bed. That's what it was. So that was Saturday night. We talked a little bit about the quarterback position as we had to because it is a big topic of concern. And Billy Liucci, he detailed what went wrong and hopefully what will go right. It is TexAgs Rewind. How many drives did they have in the game? Like, how many
I think
first
A&M
downs?
had the ball like 8 times, like 8 possessions. Now, part of that, and gloriously, was because Devon Achane returned a punt for a touchdown, where he ran through at least one tackle, shows that he can run through with power again. But, yeah, and most of it was because A&M couldn't control the ball offensively. And you could say, well, yeah, they gave up a lot of third downs. That's true. Talk about A&M's defense. But also, when you've been on the field for more than half the game, you're probably in the fourth quarter going to be more likely to give up some of the – you can say, well, they should be better conditioned. No, when you've been on the field playing for more than half the game, a lot more than half the game on a hot day, there's going to be some fatigue issues too.
Yeah. Look, and a lot of people are coming after Haynes. I'm not going to go after Haynes. Look, I think he's got to be better or somebody else has to be the quarterback. I think there were so many problems with Saturday that go beyond Haynes. I think the offensive line had its issues. I think the play calling was not good. I think the defense, although they only gave up 17 points, weren't good when they needed to be good. And yes, maybe they were tired, but you got to stop them on third downs. 9 of 20, I think it was. You got to stop them on third downs.
Yeah, and it really wasn't even that good. One of the twice on third down, unlike A&M, twice on third down, they made the play to get close enough to go for it on fourth down. Okay, and then they converted twice on fourth down. So they still converted. They just didn't convert on third down, but they still got the first down. And then one of those times they didn't convert was late in the game. And you'll remember, I don't know where A&M's coverage was, but the guy from the receiver from Appalachian State is inside the 5, and there's nobody within shouting distance of him, and he drops the ball. Remember, so they kicked the field goal. So that's one of their failures on third down, and it had nothing to do with A&M. So 45% is bad enough that you're allowing your opponent to convert on third down, but really it was more like 60%.
How do they, honestly, to me, there's only a couple, you have to fix it for Miami or you lose all hope. And how you fix it for Miami, right? Like you have to not only win, you have to show some kind of offense that makes you feel like, all right, that App State, I want it to feel like an NCAA tournament game where you're taking on a team that's not supposed to be in the Sweet 16, but they got all these super seniors and that. And that I want that to be the reason they lost here a week or two from now, as opposed to we're just not good.
Yeah, you know what? There's if A&M runs the table, there's still no excuse to losing to Appalachian State.
But you feel a lot better.
Oh, you're going to feel a lot better Saturday if you win. You're going to feel like hell until they win again. But if you run the table and you get in, and let's say you don't get into the playoff, you're going to look back and say, yeah, well, you lost to Appalachian State. How do you answer that?
Yeah.
There is no excuse. You can say, yeah, Appalachian State is good. We knew they were. No, they're a Sun Belt team that plays over their head. That excuse doesn't matter.
So, Tom, and by the way, we're going to spend very little time on A&M because I want to talk about other things because catch me up.
Very good.
But just Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you go fix
I
Miami.
do.
Yeah, go ahead.
I appreciate your perspective. And by the way, I will say this: it's going to get worse before it gets better from a fan standpoint. It has little to do with A&M, but the week-long celebration for App and what's going to happen Saturday morning with College Game Day, what's going to be an incredible scene in Boone, is just going to feel like salt in the wound. So prepare yourselves for that, right? Because those highlights are going to be running nonstop, and it's going to be worse in that respect. So to address what you just said, I totally understand. And there is plenty of football ahead, and we know what this program is capable of. I was there for the Mississippi State game last year, and it looked like a disaster. And the same team beat Alabama, right? So those types of experiences are available. I just think, to be realistic, it's very hard to look at that offensive performance and to lose a game where you allow 17 points would give me very little confidence that within that team there is an offensive outburst or a quick fix solution. So, not to be negative Nancy, that's just how I see it from this perspective.
All right, so here's optimistic Oprah. All right, I'm going to give you the double O. All right, let's just say Max Johnson's the guy this week, and Bryce Foster comes back, and the offense does figure out some things. I mean, if you can get this offense going, even though I was not happy with the defensive performance, there's enough dogs on that defense that you can fix this.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. And I guess the biggest concern, and by the way, I'm petting my puppy right now. So dogs are great support animals, right? If you're having a bad day, just pet your dog, right? They'll make you feel better. Bad weekend. There's enough explosiveness within that offense, with A-Chain and others, like, to get them the ball, you would think. And I don't know. I don't have the solutions. I'm sure they're hard at work for solutions. But you said you didn't want to talk about A&M, that I was going to help you out with bigger picture stuff.
All right, so this is going to hurt because it is not about A&M, but it could be about A&M.
Yeah.
I think the SEC West is out there, man. I've said for a while, I thought Bama was vulnerable. They seem to be vulnerable. Arkansas is pretty legit, but they're also vulnerable because of some of their injuries. So I'll go back to Bama. How vulnerable are they?
Well, just real quick on Arkansas, a devastating injury, losing Jalen Cadlon for the year again. I was blown away by that guy as a freshman. I sat in their team defensive meetings in 20 and saw how he led the team as a freshman, and I'd never seen that before. And I'm just devastated for him, and that's probably going to hurt them on the back end. Alabama has me really confused because I was there last week, and they looked unbeatable, even though there were question marks. Do they have a breakout wide receiver? Who's that going to be, and when he's going to show up? Is the offensive line good enough? Defensively, do they have some holes? Yeah, but surely their corners are going to get better throughout the year, and some of their playmaking corners are going to show up. Texas exposed all of that, and maybe, just maybe, Texas is better than we thought, and Sark has that athleticism, and they played. I mean, they had some dogs in them on Saturday. That was a really impressive performance, and I know Aggies don't want to hear this either, but that was also really cool scene on Saturday afternoon, that the students were lined up around the building, and that was, if you're Texas and you've got one of the biggest houses on the block, that's what it's supposed to be, right? That's what they haven't been for the last 10 years. I'm not saying they're back, but that was a big step. Alabama still has Bryce Young, and in the end, that was the difference. He made a play on a corner blitz and made the guy miss and extended the play, and boom, that's the difference between winning and losing in college football. Nick Saban is not a guy who's going to rest, and he puts so much pressure on that staff that they won't rest either. So there's likely drastic improvement coming from them from a scheme standpoint. If they can't figure out if they don't have the I don't want to say Alabama doesn't have the talent, but you know what I'm saying. Like, if they don't have that elite talent at corner and at wide receiver, they'll figure something out.
You're the Tom Hagen of Jimbo Fisher. What are you telling Jimbo? Let's try these little ideas. What are you telling him?
Well, I might really consider a quarterback change to see if that can't spark something.
Okay.
If not, if they don't, then I would like to see more movement from the quarterback, moving around more instead of just in the pocket. That's one of the things. I'm still going to rely more heavily on Devon Achane.
Yep.
But I would like to see my quarterback move around more, and I would tell him, if you feel like you've got a lane to scramble, take it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I would run more zone read. I don't think a zone read is something you can run sometimes, because you've got to get that coordination between your running back and your quarterback, understanding when the quarterback's trying to take the ball and away from you and all those things. That's not something that I think you can do some of the time. You got to do it a lot.
I agree.
And then on defense, I would just say I might even have less of a rotation, find out who my best players are, and play them more. And then, I'm going to rotate them, but maybe I wouldn't rotate quite as much, and always be aggressive. And never, ever, ever, never would I play a three lineman. The best guys I've got are defensive linemen. I'm going to put 4 of them out there, and I'm going to attack.
Yeah.
But that said, this, I might be speaking from ignorance. I'm not out of practice. I don't know what all these guys can do on a consistent basis.
Yeah, absolutely. It's look, I think I would do the quarterback change to start the next game if it were me, and I would start with Max. As much as I want to see Connor, I'm not ready to go there just yet. I'd like to see Max and just see what kind of difference it's going to be. And I just want to see, I don't want to call it more aggressive play calling, but I want to see more decisive play calling. And when it's a 3rd and 1, line up your best. Let's see if you can stop my guys, which obviously wasn't the case, but that's what I want to see. I absolutely want to see that. But let's talk about why things can be better moving forward, Billy.
Oh, man. I mean, it's tough, dude. That's part of the problem here is, if it would have been a game where maybe even a shootout and you lost at the end and you said, God, this is a team with, this App State team is pretty damn good. They're all veterans, and the A&M defense is just really young and had a lot of guys hurt. But like what we really wanted to see, and I thought it was going to be, was a feel-good week for the offense. And my concern was actually sitting there going to be, well, how do we really evaluate this with a team that gave up almost 600 yards and 60-some-odd points to North Carolina minus their best receiver a week earlier? Like, if A&M goes off and the offense is clicking, it'll be good just for some, get some momentum going and feel good about it. But we're going to have to make sure and tap the brakes a little because of the defense they're facing. And then you come out and see what we saw. 1 touchdown. Oh, my God. And no ability to move the ball. And don't tell me it's because they didn't have the ball enough. This is a two-sided thing, and that's my concern. The defense, the more I look at what the defense did, I'm less and less impressed with that, too. Not that I was impressed, but I've been told by everyone that it was a great defensive effort. They only gave up 17. Well, they should have given up 24. They missed a short field goal, and the guy dropped an easy touchdown. And not that 24 is a lot of points, but they gave up 4 drives of 11 plays or more. They gave up back-to-back drives of that consumed 15 minutes of second-half clock. And well, they're tired. They're exhausted. Well, they gave up 2 really long drives in the first half, too. Well, A-Chain had the kickoff return in between, so they were out there on the field back-to-back. Well, on both, I went back and looked, and on almost every one of those defensive drives, the Aggies had a chance on 3rd down to get off the field very early. And it was always like 3rd and 3 or more. It wasn't 3rd and a foot. And it was some of the 4th downs were that short. But on those drives very early, 3rd and 3 or more, 3rd and 6, I think 3rd and 5, and they couldn't get off the field. And so to me, you're talking about how do we feel better? Well, I mean, first and foremost, I think get some guys back out there on defense that have been hurt. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and name names. You guys know who they are, but I saw a lot of guys who were I wasn't expecting to see play as much this early in the season that are playing a ton right now on defense, a lot of them. And you're without Andre White at linebacker, Miles and Jalen Jones at corner. Jalen's a particularly big one there because he was a returning starter. Miles, he's going to be an added bonus if he ever gets out there, and he's practicing all week this week, and then all of a sudden, re-aggravated something. It's unfortunate. It is what it is, though. But those two are out. I don't know I didn't see much of Smoke Bowie, the corner. I think there was something going around this week for a couple guys. The young freshman DBs didn't practice very much, so they were. And of course McKinley Jackson. So at a minimum, you were without 3 starters on defense. Then you throw in Walter Nolan on the inside, and Gabe Brownlow-Denby returned to practice this week and already started turning heads. So when they start to get those guys back and those true freshmen start playing, because notice how all of a sudden we didn't hear much from the true freshman D linemen this week. The guys that were racking up the tackles and making plays with the veterans, because you were playing a veteran football team now, and you were playing a lot better, offensive line than what Sam Houston puts out there. And all of a sudden, you're getting schemed on, and guys are crashing down and taking the bait on the fake handoffs, and the misdirection is catching. The freshmen caught up to a lot of them this week, so they'll keep getting better. I do think the defense has a huge lane to improve in, and I expect that they will. I really do.
By the way, I got to meet Nolan the other day here at the TexAgs tailgate. That was cool. Nolan's a frequent contributor there on the chat. I think he'll tell you when you comment, I try to respond. So if you got some comments out there, comment, like, subscribe, all the good stuff you're supposed to do. I'll try to respond to you. What were you feeling Saturday? What are you feeling now? And when will you get optimistic? I'd like to hear from you. Is it going to take the Miami win? Is it going to take Miami, Arkansas, Mississippi State? What is it going to take for you? Comment below. We'll see you next time.